The secret began in the quiet early hours of New Year's Day, 2023, on the shared iPad in the bathroom of their Cohasset, Massachusetts home, the one their 3 children sometimes use for homework. Someone typed a question no spouse should ever search. How long before a body starts to smell? Minutes later, 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. And then more, about decay, dismemberment, cleaning blood, hiding evidence. From that single query, a real-life nightmare unfolded. To their neighbors, the Walshe home in suburban Cohasset looked quiet and ordinary. 3 children, a manicured yard, a father already on house arrest for an art fraud case. Nothing dramatic. But inside, the marriage had been degrading for months. Ana had begun pulling away. She was building her own real estate business, a portfolio worth millions. And she had life insurance, a policy worth $2.7 million, with Brian as the sole beneficiary. Behind their polite smiles, though, lived a fracture. Brian had spent years hiding behind carefully crafted lies. Once, he'd sold forged paintings as originals. A man adept at reinvention. A man who had been caught, forgiven, and watched. But now, the stakes were different, darker. Ana confided in friends that she was preparing to leave with the children. She was tired, afraid he would end up back in prison, determined to start over. No one outside their home knew how close she was to slipping away, but Brian did. And prosecutors believe that realization pushed him into panic. Through the winter of 2022, the tension thickened. Brian, suspicious and jealous, hired a private investigator. He even involved his mother, urging her to keep tabs on Ana when she traveled for work. He accessed a tablet registered to one of their children, scrolling through Ana's messages, searching her calendars, piecing together her movements, convinced she was hiding something from him. Ana sensed the surveillance. The house grew colder. Conversations became coded, short, and careful. The children, too young to understand, watched the air in their home shift into something tense and fragile. Then came New Year's Eve. By the time dawn arrived on January 1st, 2023, the life they had built together was already over. At 4:55 a.m., someone in the house used a shared tablet to search. How long before a body starts to smell? In the hours that followed, more searches appeared, dozens of them. How to prevent decomposition, how to dispose of a body, how to dismember one, whether murder charges could stick without recovering remains. By sunrise, Ana was gone. Her car was still in the driveway, her wallet and phone untouched. Her 3 children slept upstairs. Brian claimed she had rushed to the airport. He did not contact her workplace until days later. And when he finally did, investigators discovered there had been no work emergency at all. Suspicion was growing quickly. 2 days later, surveillance footage captured Brian inside a large hardware store. He purchased nearly $450 worth of cleaning supplies, bleach, tarps, buckets, mops, gloves, and a full-body protective suit. He wore a mask. He wore gloves. He tried not to be seen, but cameras recorded every step. When questioned, he claimed he had been taking care of his mother after a minor medical procedure. He insisted he'd gone grocery shopping. His receipts didn't match. His timeline crumbled. And then came the dumpsters. He was seen disposing of heavy trash bags miles away from home, near his mother's apartment, behind strip malls, beside residential complexes. Some of those dumpsters were emptied before police arrived, their contents crushed or incinerated at waste processing sites. Yet investigators still found pieces. A Tyvek suit stained with traces of blood, a hacksaw, a hatchet, towels, boots, a designer purse, Anna's vaccination card, objects that belonged only to her, discarded and scattered, desperate attempts to erase a life. Inside the basement of the Walshe home, police discovered a damaged knife with blood on its blade. The quiet rooms of the house now held shadows, not memories. No body, no single piece of definitive proof. But the strands, digital searches, cleaning supplies, blood traces, discarded possessions, a motive wrapped in money and fear, wove together a suffocating picture. When charges were filed, the public recoiled. How could someone search for ways to dispose of a spouse's remains at dawn, then calmly buy bleach and tarps hours later? Brian's defense team argued that suspicion does not equal proof. There was no body, no eyewitness, no confirmed murder weapon tied to a cause of death. They insisted he was being tried in the court of public opinion, not on evidence. But prosecutors built their case piece by piece. Search histories, surveillance footage, trash disposal routes, a timeline so tight it left almost no room for coincidence. On November 18th, 2025, with jury selection days away, Brian made a shocking move. He pleaded guilty, but only to two lesser crimes: improperly disposing of a body and misleading police. He did not admit to murder. The courtroom froze. The biggest question remained like a ghost in the air. Where's Ana? Prosecutors laid out the evidence anyway. Thousands of pages of data, tracking his movements, his purchases, his searches. They described the bags recovered from dumpsters, the blood in the basement, the electronic trails connecting every lie. The timeline aligned. The motive was clear: fear, anger, control, and money. But the defense clung to a single truth: without a body, doubt could live forever. The plea deal spared him from an immediate murder conviction and left Ana's fate legally unresolved. Outside, Ana's mother wept. Her children were placed in foster care, their home emptied and silent. A house that once echoed with family life now felt more like a tomb for memories. As months passed, the case became a lesson repeated across newsrooms and courtrooms. The internet never forgets. Passwords may be erased. Evidence may be destroyed. But search histories, timestamps, and keystrokes remain. Sometimes they are louder than any witness. Ana's remains may never be found. The dumpsters are gone. The incinerated evidence turned to ash. But what survived, the searches, the behavior, the patterns, create a portrait of intention, a betrayal, of something cold and irreversible. And as the murder trial still looms in the future, one question lingers, a question that sits in every juror's mind, every investigator's file, and every child who lost their mother. If a man searches how to dismember a body at 4:55 a.m., buys bleach and tarps before sunrise, and throws away a woman's entire life in dumpsters across the state, but the body is never found, can justice ever truly be served? Some secrets do not leave a body behind. Some lives fade without a trace. And some crimes end with a question no one can ever fully answer.